go-to truck customizer. From mild-to-wild lift kits, custom wheels, and steering and handling enhancements to the best personal and commercial wraps, Texas Truck Works delivers. Let Texas Truck Works founder Scott Stevens help you get the most out of your truck or Jeep. Texas Truck Works has decades of customizing experience, including power adders and complete engine swaps. Let the Texas Truck Works team design an upgrade plan that fits your budget. Get truck attitude today at texastruckworks.com.
Do you know what teens just love? Not being told what you're supposed to love. That's not anyone's business but yours. It doesn't matter what you love, but if you love it, click it. That includes you too. Because in 2018, 42% of Texas teens who died in traffic crashes were not wearing their seatbelts. Make sure everyone is buckled up. Every rider, every ride. Brought to you by the Texas Department of Transportation.
It's In Wheel Time, your weekly award-winning live car talk show. Just ahead, race tires. We discuss them. We also have our Ram Tracks feature and Conrad's Car Clinic, along with this week's automotive news. All along with Mike Mars down there drinking his Coca-Cola, and Conrad DeLong in his white, I like the Rally 350 shirt.
Yeah, that's Bill Seitz. Did the artwork for my vehicle, and I clipped this out and sent it to this company who did the design for an embroidered shirt for me. So I have about 4 or 5 of these.
Nice.
So kind of conversation starter. It looks good on white and other colors. It doesn't look good on a black shirt because you can't see the tires. It kind of looks like the car is sitting there on cinder blocks with no tires on it.
Kind of like one of those green screen things.
Or something.
Green screen wearing a green shirt. All you see is your head moving around. All right. So our theme today, we've been talking about basically road racing, SCCA style road racing. And I thought, how can you have racing and talk about racing without talking about what contacts the ground, which is really the final line when it comes to racing anything.
Can make you faster than older tires.
Yeah. So we thought we would get a hold of Woody Rogers. He's Vice President of Marketing at Tire Rack. And Woody, it's great to talk to you. No, he's not.
Yeah. We're oh, you got to switch to him.
No, I'm sorry? His tablet went down again.
Well, we can probably get Woody.
Woody can hear us.
Can you hear us, Woody?
He can hear us, but we can't hear him. So
hang on a minute.
Yeah, there we go. Yeah, we got you.
All right, guys, I'm here, man.
All right, well, good. Well, we're so glad that you are. We're having some technical issues with that fine switcher that we have over here, the video switcher. Mr. Mars is back over there. So we can't see you, but I guess we can hear you.
Hear you. Yeah. I've ordered tires from Tire Rack multiple times. It's a great place to go to find what you need, but I've never ordered race tires from you guys.
Well, I would imagine that it would be easy for racers all across America and all across the world to be able to get tires from Tire Rack. Is that right, Woody?
Well, sure it is, and we very much appreciate all the business you guys have sent our way over the years. We love partnering with racers. We love helping people have fun with their cars on the track at whatever level that is. Tire Rack focuses on street tires, so we're carrying raceable and track-capable tires that are DOT marked. We are not in the slick business. That starts to get very, very specialized, and there are so many trackside providers that work hand in hand on that product. So we stop at the semi-slick, DOT-approved, Hoosiers and BFG track tires, and everything on down from there.
Well, that's one of those items that I think that if I were going to do any kind of SCCA racing, here I am, a family guy, I've got other expenses, and I realize that there are straight slicks that are available, and most of the guys, have some sort of supplier in their area, and they bring the tires to the track, and you have access to that. But I'm more interested in really a kind of a
tire you can drive to the track, run on the track,
there
and drive home without having to trailer your vehicle.
So let's focus in on that. And I understand that you guys carry those types of tires. So what is your biggest selling brand when it comes to basically street/racing tires?
Well, there are several tiers of that kind of product depending how serious you want to be about it. Do you want to focus more on the track side, or do you want to focus more on the street side?
No, I'd rather focus more on the track side, but I can also drive it home and make it a street car as well.
For sure. Okay, well, probably our largest seller there is a Bridgestone Potenza RE71R. We put that in a category Tire Rack calls extreme performance. So they're very track capable. They'll hold up. I know I use them on the endurance race car that I'm part of a team on, and we'll go 10 plus hours of racing on a set of those.
Wow.
So for the more casual track day guy that wants to drive his street car to and from, he can get a large part or all summer long of track nights, like SCCA's track night in America. You could do half a dozen of those plus drive all summer long or more on just one set of those tires.
Well, one of the guys that we were talking about earlier, he was running Dunlops. And, from my little knowledge about Dunlop tires, I mean, they used to be a major player when it came to street tires, but they're also a major player when it comes to race tires that are streetable also. Do you carry those?
Yeah, we sure do. It's the current model from Dunlop is called the Dureza Z3, and crazy wide range of sizes to fit everything from a small little Honda to a big muscle car or a big European performance car up to your, big crazy 911 Porsche Turbo, whatever. Very popular. They wear really well. They drive well. And a big advantage of that Dunlop is the feel. So for someone who's not that hardcore racer, wants to balance things on the razor's edge, would rather have a more comfortable, friendly, more like limit approachable package, that Dunlop Z3 works really well for that. And that's a reputation that Dunlop has really kind of carved out over the years with their category.
Well, I have to confess to you that I used to have a Corvair that I completely redid and put some nice wheels on it. And I was talking to my friend Jeff Zekin, who
Sorry,
we all
I'm
know.
Breaking up on you guys a little bit here.
Oh,
Seems like we're frozen.
Don had a Corvair that did a pretty nice restoration on and added some aftermarket tires to it. And Jeff Zekin, our tire guy here locally, had helped him chose a set of tires for that. And
actually, we used the Dunlops that you mentioned.
And they used the Dunlops that you just mentioned.
Oh yeah,
and John Ralston, they're in the World Racing League down at Daytona this weekend, and that's the guy who on track is actually using those Dunlops you just told us about. And I think he was saying they have a wear rating of 200, and they'll do the whole 11-hour endurance race on one set of tires.
Right, and it's hard to imagine, those of us that have been in the sport for a while or going to the track, you rewind 5 years or 10 years, even just 5 years, you couldn't get the performance plus the longevity out of the tires back then. So things have evolved so much. And a lot of it is endurance racing technology with slicks is definitely trickling down to the street tire products that you and I may go play on today.
So again, that race on Sunday, sell on Monday aspect of this is also in the tire industry too.
Absolutely. And the knowledge gained in the compounding, in the internal structure, you have 15 major elements, 35 individual components, 50 or 60 individual ingredients that make up a modern radial tire, whether it's a racing slick or a street tire. So the tire engineers have all these levers they can pull to put the package together and bake that sweet cake that we take to the street. And like I said, a lot of learning comes from the pressure of endurance racing and track racing for dedicated slicks. And it definitely trickles down to the street.
Great things through chemistry, as we like to say.
For sure.
Yeah. All right. So
that was Don's high school logo.
Yeah. Thank you for that. Yeah. Back in the day, it probably was. So I have to ask you, do you have people there at Tire Rack that we can call and we can talk to and can guide us in maybe making a decision? Because there are so many variables out there. I want a tire that looks good. I want to have street racing. I want to have weekend road warrior type capabilities, but I also want it to ride well and give me some longevity as well. I mean, you got somebody to talk to there at Tire Rack?
You sound like our typical customer. I want everything. You know,
Exactly. I want all of it.
You know how that all works. Of course. I mean, a lot of people think of us as a website, you know, and we have what we think is the best tire website in the industry. But Tire Rack's been around for 40 years. We have a massive staff of expertly trained people. There are test drivers when we go test tires during the summertime. So we have a great phone team that they can call and get a personal recommendation based on how, what, and where people are driving. And we can give them that recommendation.
And so, okay, how does it work? So I call, I talk to you, we come to an agreement on a price and a tire. Then what happens? Do you ship me the tires? Do I wait for the UPS man? How does it work?
Yeah, exactly. I mean, and not to make it too much of a commercial for Tire Rack, but it's a great feature that we have. We can ship that tire out to you. You know, we reach over 85% of the population in 48 states in just one business day for shipping. So we have 10 warehouses spread around the country, and we can airdrop that tire into you, so to speak. It's there in the next day or two. We've got a list of over 9,000 partner independent installers around the country, shops that are very happy to get those tires installed for you. And so we can send the tires directly to that installer. We can send them to you so you can touch and feel them when they first arrive, and then you carry them to the installer, whatever you prefer. They'll get them on your vehicle and off you go.
Well, the nice thing about you partnering with installers, then you're pretty sure that the installer has the equipment to put on some of these high-tech tires today, because it's not the same old two big sticks and a hammer to get a tire on and off of a wheel. I mean, it takes some high dollar, you know, $15,000, $20,000, $30,000 tire changers in today's industry to put some of those low aspect ratio tires on those wheels safely.
You're absolutely right. You were talking about the new Corvette before I came on, and you know, very, very expensive wheels, very low profile tires. You know, and like you say, that's not just the simple combination from 20 years ago that the gorilla can muscle on, you know, with two sticks and a hammer.
Hey, I resemble that remark.
Yeah, I was going to say, that's the way I did it.
We're not judging anybody there, but it definitely, you know, it takes that specialized equipment. You know, we have that roster of details on our detail page for every installer. So our sales team can look at that list to know, is this an installer that can do it for you? Or you can peruse that list on our website, whichever you prefer. Some people love to do it themselves. Some people want that hand holding, and we've got the team that can do that if they want it.
Well, it sounds like you guys are in a good position, because more and more people obviously don't want to sit around all day long in a tire place, waiting in line with 20 other people waiting for the tire to get installed. I can have it shipped right there and get an appointment, go in there and have it done while I wait, and not spend all day at a tire installer.
Mm-hmm. One thing I thought was rather interesting, I was looking at your website. For one thing, I'm looking for some tires. I've been pricing tires all week. And I noticed the installer in my area is actually a Firestone tire dealer. And I thought that was kind of unusual. That, I mean, like, if you're going to ship it, you would ship it to the Firestone dealer there? I mean, he's on your list of people to do it.
Absolutely. You know, they're a great partner of ours on the installer side of things. Sure, they sell tires, but they're happy to install any brand of tire that Tire Rack would drop ship, or you're going to hand carry in yourself, whichever you prefer. And, you know, they can do other services if you need it. They can do your brake work. They can get you a nice track alignment to optimize that wear and performance when you do go to the track, or whatever. But if you just need tires installed, they're happy to do that too. Another cool thing about the Firestone stores is, in the last 90 days, as we've had COVID-19 kind of take over the world for us, they were the first to adopt a very extensive no contact process so you can get your tires installed. So they have an appointment system, they have curbside drop off, they have cleaning of your vehicle. In some cases, you can even sit in your car, so they don't even touch the inside of your car if you're worried about that. So they've been a great partner for us. in getting things handled safely for our customers.
Well,
'Cause people are
back in the
people-
day, the Firestone store only handled Firestone tires.
Well, that was my first thought, because when I saw the tire rack and I saw, okay, they're going to ship it to me, I'm thinking, well, I'm going to go down here to Billy Bob's used tires and try and get him to put them on.
That's what I thought.
And then I saw Firestone, and then, this is a dealer my parents have done business at this location, several times, and I thought, how cool is this? But it just seemed a little unusual.
Well,
it's a new day, brother.
It sure is.
It's a new day, but they've been a partner of us. I'd have to look back. Over a decade, they have been, all of their stores across the country have been in our network. So
Well,
they're a great partner of ours.
And that comes to the point that we talked about these partners as well, is you have to find somebody who knows how to install the tire safely, not damaging the tire or the wheel. So Firestone's just a great fit for that.
Absolutely. We also have a number of very, very specialized independent installers. So take a look if you have a very unique mark or you want to go to a specialist. We've got those kind of guys on the list as well.
Well, Woody, it's great to talk to you. Thank you so much for joining us today. We really appreciate it. Woody Rogers, Vice President of Marketing at Tire Rack and TireRack.com. Thanks again. We appreciate it.
Thank you,
sir.
very much.
Thanks. Have fun.
Yeah, we appreciate it. All right, we'll be right back.
911, what's your emergency?
God, there's a train that just hit a car.
Sir, what is your location? Look around for a street sign, sir.
It's 8th and Orchard. 8th and Orchard.
Okay, very good. 8th and Orchard. Sir, help is on the way.
Why would he do that? The train still hasn't stopped. You have to get there now.
At a railway crossing, even if the engineer sees you and hits the brakes, it can take a mile for the train to stop. And for you, that's too late. Stop. Trains can't. Paid for by NHTSA.
Wheel Time program. We appreciate you joining us today. We got another 15 minutes to go or so, something like that. We appreciate you being with us. And time now for this week's Ram Tracks in Wheel Time's weekly look into the world of Ram trucks and the Ram Nation.
And in response to a lot of things that's going on, Ram Trucks has done several limited edition, special edition vehicles over the years. One of the things they're doing the last couple of years is an edition called Built to Serve Edition trucks. Now, this is some Ram 1500s that they have actually put together, and it's a celebration of America's armed forces. And they do 5 of them because of the 5 different branches of the service that are out there.
Army, Navy, Air Force, Marines, and Coast Guard.
That's correct. And the one they've got out now, it's released Sunday, June the 14th, and coordinating with Flag Day, it's because of the Navy, and it's got a nautical-inspired theme for their trucks. They're a ceramic gray.
In the Navy, yes, you can sail the 7th. Sorry.
YMC. No, wrong one. Anyway, so this limited edition, there's only 1,000 of them every time they do this. So out of these 5 different ones, there'll be about 4,500 because one of them is only going to be 500. And they've got several different things, 20-inch wheels, body color wheel flares, all black grille with surround black bumpers, and the wheel-to-wheel side steps, and the dual exhaust tips and stuff. But they're all got their own special colors. There's several different features. On the interior, they all have on the seats, they have it emblazed with Built to Serve, and it's all a tribute to the armed forces if you want to get in on this. They're released occasionally. They had one last November. Now they've got one for June the 14th for Flag Day. The other 3 will come out during the year, kind of coordinated with special events.
Interesting.
And you can order it on any platform of Ram truck, so you can get it on a regular cab short wheelbase, or you can get it on a crew cab long wheelbase. So they're not restricting you to what platform you can get it on.
To a crew cab or something. And if you want more information, we actually have a story on our website. Jim Nelson did a story on it that goes into a lot of detail on about these vehicles, why they did it, and where to get it. So just go to inwheeltime.com and look for the Ram Built to Serve news story.
Thank you, sir. If you'd like to get in touch with us here at In Wheel Time, shoot us an email. The address info@inwheeltime.com. Now, our feature, Conrad's Car Clinic. What are we talking about today?
Well, it's going to be a little bit of a second hand or a second piece to one I had done 2 weeks ago. Remember, we talked about, have you ever had that coworker come in panicked and saying, my car won't start, help me?
Yep.
And we talked about batteries. Well, now same person comes to you and you find out that maybe it's the starter. So there's a couple of things that you can do to determine whether or not it's the starter. The starter draws its power from the battery, and that's why it's important to rule out the battery before trying to test the starter. One of the things that you can do when you're testing the starter is when you hit the key, does it click a couple of times, meaning that there's not enough power to engage the starter? Do all of the lights draw down in the vehicle? If you leave the headlights on or the dome light on, do they kind of draw down to zero and cause the startability problem because the starter won't turn over itself or it's kind of locked up? One of the things the starter has to have at least 10.5 volts. So if your car has a voltmeter on it, when you hit the key, does the voltmeter drop below 10.5 volts? If it does, you may very well have.
Do you have to dig it out of the carpet after it's done all that stuff? That voltmeter.
That voltmeter, yeah. Well, voltmeters on the dash are going to tell you the same thing. But when that happens, all kinds of weird stuff also happens in the computer. So the computer may start throwing some codes.
Throwing up.
Well, yeah. So when you do that, you want to look at how much power the starter is drawing out of the battery, whether or not the battery has enough reserve or not. And generally, starters today can be a lot more expensive than starters in the past. Before you took off 2 wires and 2 bolts and the starter was in your hand. Well, some vehicles, the starter is mounted underneath the intake manifold. Some of the starters are mounted on the inside the transmission bell housing. So replacing a starter can be a lot more in today's vehicles than it used to. So you want to bring it in somewhere and get it properly diagnosed because you may not be able to just put a starter in your driveway.
Kind of like doing brakes on a 2015 Dodge Challenger and getting the wrong parts. Even though the website said, these are the ceramic brake pads for that car.
Yeah, because you can't tell whether they are or not until you got the old ones off.
Well, I was talking to Mike on the way in. I said, well, apparently Don got the Challenger brakes done because it's not still out here on
it's not
jack
in the driveway.
stands.
Yeah. Well, guess what?
They were the wrong ones.
No.
Oh, boy.
The pads that I bought were too short.
Yeah, I mean,
how could that possibly
be? It was the wrong pads. It really was. Oh, that's right. You had to leave.
Yeah, no, I had
we got it apart. We took the old pads off, and I went, "Whoa, this is
wrong
not
pads. Stop. Go in reverse." Much. Oh, okay. Well, and that's way more common that you draw the wrong part in a lot of instances, and that happens. And back to talking about starters. Now, the old days, a starter was 60, 70 pounds of metal and iron and wires. Today, some of these starters are really pretty small and very compact, where it may only be 10, 15 pounds, and they have these high torque starters, but in a very compact thing. So you have to make sure you're getting the right part for your vehicle.
Well, especially those stupid starters with that stupid auto start stop feature on it that I can't stand. Did I tell you that? Come on.
But starters are something that you still have to replace with some regularity. They don't last forever. So getting it in and getting it properly
especially if you've got the auto start stop feature, I would imagine they would.
It starts and stops it's starting way more often than
right.
older
Particularly
starters did.
If you're in
it's a lot more active.
Traffic like you have here in Houston, where you get caught in it, and you move 5 feet and it dies.
Move 5. Well, it doesn't die. It just turns itself off.
Turns itself off.
Then it has to restart itself, and then it has to restart itself.
Do we have to have this conversation? Because it just makes me angry every time we even talk about it.
If you take your headset off, I could see the smoke coming out of your ears.
That auto start stop thing. I'm good.
It's all about fuel economy, honey.
All right. This reminder: if you belong to a car, truck, or Jeep club, we'd love to feature your group here on In Wheel Time. Just send the info and contact information to info@inwheeltime.com, and we'll put your bunch in the car club spotlight. Today's automotive news is next here on In Wheel Time.
Uh-oh, Brad's buzzed.
Oh, yeah?
Yeah, he's starting with the woots. And now a speech.
I just want to say that friendship is about heart.
heart, and brain. Who's with me?
Good thing is, he knows when he's buzzed.
And my brain is saying, when it's time to go home, somebody call me a ride.
Love that guy.
Me too.
Know your buzzed warning signs? Call for a ride when it's time to go home. Buzz driving is drunk driving. A message from NHTSA and the Ad Council.
A social distancing tip.
While the CDC urges you to avoid close contact, like hugging or shaking hands, there are other non-physical ways to say hello. Wave, wink, use sign language, salute, smile, give the peace sign, throw up an air high five, do jazz hands. Remember, stay a minimum of 6 feet or 2 arms length away from others and stay home if you can. For more info, visit coronavirus.gov.
Let's all do our part because we're all #alone together. Brought to you by the Ad Council.
Thanks for joining us for today's In Wheel Time Car Show. We really appreciate you taking the time to spend with us on this particular day. And a reminder that our show is on every Saturday live, streaming on Facebook, YouTube, and inwheeltime.com from 10 a.m. to noon Central Time. Okay, time now for this week's Automotive News headlines. Do you remember this thing called the Roxor? Did you see any commercials for the Roxor?
No. Yes.
Okay, looked like a Jeep.
Yes, like a mini Jeep.
Okay.
Mini-Me.
Fiat Chrysler Automobiles won its bid for an order to block U.S. imports of Mahindra and Mahindra Limited's Roxor off-road vehicles.
Yes, I have. Now
that it said copies the look of its iconic Jeep Wrangler. The International Trade Commission said in a notice posted on the agency's website, the commission upheld a judge's finding that Mahindra's off-road vehicle is a copy of the Jeep.
It's a Mini-Me.
That's right.
It is a direct copy of it.
Fiat Chrysler claimed that the Roxor is a nearly identical copy of its Jeep, particularly the boxy body shape with the flat-appearing vertical sides and rear body ending at about the same height as the hood, the Wrangler. The 2020 vehicle, dubbed the Beast, starts at $16,599, nowhere close to the Jeep Wrangler. And, of course, Mahindra marketed it as a non-roadworthy vehicle, is strictly for off-road, but it doesn't make any difference.
As a UTV, but still, it is a basically duplicate of a Jeep.
Absolutely. And while COVID-19 has slowed the $12.2 billion market for off-road vehicles this year, it's expected to rebound next year with the biggest growth in North America, according to analysts at StatView Research. The U.S. accounted for more than 60% of global off-road vehicle sales in 2018, according to
Have they
report.
started selling that thing in the United States yet?
What? The Rock? Oh, yeah.
Yeah, that's the reason they filed the suit.
I wonder if that's going to create an issue with the current owners as well.
I'll tell you what. If I spent $17,000, I'm going to sue Mahindra for everything.
$17,000.
Exactly. Get my money back. Come on. Ford is reevaluating how much office space it needs for white-collar workers as restrictions put in place during the coronavirus pandemic are eased and employees return to workplaces. In March, Ford, General Motors, and Fiat Chrysler told salaried employees to work from home to prevent the spread of COVID-19. Ford brought back 12,000 salaried employees last month, and others have been told they can work from home until September,
when they'll be terminated.
Given potential workplace changes caused by the outbreak, facility consolidation, the number 2 U.S. automaker had already launched, could accelerate. U.S. companies are wrestling with who can work from home and how much office space is necessary. And if you remember our conversation with Mac DeLaw out of John Eagle Honda, he was saying, hey, this has changed everything.
Changing world.
Yeah, and there's no need for a dealership to have 5 acres of a lot space anymore. Don't need it, because now I'm going to take my potential buyer a car that they want. They can order it online and then take that car to their home, let them test drive it. We'll bring it back if you don't like it. It's a different world.
I'm really interested to see how long this is going to cycle. I used to work for a major communications company, and they pushed.
What communication was that?
The communication company. And they pushed, we're going to work from home, and everybody's going to work from home and all this stuff. And so they send us all out into the world. And it wasn't long till they figured out that brain trust, working over the phone and stuff, they lost a lot of brain power, a lot of interaction between employees, and they started bringing people back into the
Well,
office
I think this
space.
is going to have an impact not just in the automotive industry. I think in all industries and businesses as they push people home to work. You know, think about some of these huge buildings we have in Houston. They're going to go vacant.
Well, they are, but again, what are you losing whenever you do that?
Traffic. Oh, gosh, traffic's been so nice lately.
It has, but I've noticed that it has picked up.
It's picked up quite a bit.
Yeah.
Particularly on 59 South, whenever they close it down and they don't tell anybody.
Or you don't check.
Oh.
Because it was closed the last 3 weeks he drove. He figured it might be
But
open
they said
this
it was
time.
closed.
Yeah. There is all of that. Well,
Don't get me started.
I think that this is a good time to just kind of vacate this show
And say goodbye.
because I know I have a good feeling as
We
to
can spend another hour
Say goodbye,
going on
Gracie.
here.
where we're going with this. Yeah, Jeff just flashed me a sign. I thought, yeah, maybe not. Well,
You going to go out tomorrow night or tomorrow to see Troy's birthday up at Twin Peaks?
I will not be there.
Okay, I think I'm going to go. I'm going to get the rally out.
Hey, that's it for today's In Wheel Time Car Show. When you're on Facebook, please give us a like and watch our show over and over again. You'll also get Conrad's Unicorn Hunting features, along with all things automotive. And while you're online, watch us on YouTube as well. Our website is inwheeltime.com. Podcasts of the show are available on Apple Podcasts, Spotify, Stitcher Radio, iHeart Podcast, TuneIn, Google Podcast, and Podcast Addict. The In Wheel Time Chief Engineer is the fabulous David Ainsley. Our Video Technical Director and Sales Goddess is Jeffrey Zekin. Special thanks to all of our guests today. Next week, we talk about car events. And if you're not here in the Houston area, hey, we got ideas for you where you are. From Mike Out of This World Mars and King Conrad DeLong, I'm Don Armstrong. Thank you for following In Wheel Time. Please tell your car friends about us. Have a great week and stay cool like you know you are. We'll see you again live online next Saturday at our new time, 10 a.m. to noon Central, on all your popular social media platforms. See you then. Please keep it safe.